But can you tell me who Cheryl Lowe is, and then also in a wider context of what Memoria Press is?
Yes, I met Cheryl in somewhere around 1990, 92, 92. We were both involved in a rebellion that was going on here in Kentucky, a very unpopular education reform measure that the legislature had passed, and we were both in opposition to it. I became the spokesperson against it, and we actually did defeat it, interestingly enough. But we realized we had a lot of the same ideas, and talking about what you're against, you have to talk about what you're for and why this thing that you are criticizing is bad. You got to know what the good is in order to know what bad is, right? We started talking, and we realized we were I think both of us had started to read some of the literature that was coming out of this new classical education thing. And she was right on top of it. And by the time that I first met her, she had written the Latina Christiana program, which is beginner's Latin program. And so we started talking, and she found out I was had a philosophy background, and she wanted to put out books on the trivium, right? Latin, logic, and rhetoric. My background was in philosophy, and I had already started actually teaching a class on traditional logic at the first classical school that I started. And so she wanted to do those programs. And so we put those together. And those were the first three programs that Memoria Press had. And they were immediately successful. And there was already by that time a market for classical material. But Cheryl, she was a mother. She was a science teacher at Eastern High School here in Louisville. So formally, she had science degrees, but she was really interested in language as well. And she was just a very intelligent, very humble person, but she was very determined. And so she wanted to start a school. So I started teaching for her also. And then she hired me on full time. And we started Highlands Latin School just as basically a homeschool cooperative. And she always had this simple wisdom, and everyone was in awe of it because she could take a really complex subject and explain it very simply. And so at Highlands, she would give a weekly, or I guess it was a monthly coffee hour where the parents would come and they would just sit there and listen to her. And it was so impressive to hear this person who's able to put these complex ideas into very simple terms that you could understand. And that's what she did with her programs. And I have always admired that and tried to do it myself.